like I say, probably Germany is where I started, I believe, because I remember I was doing a lot of stuff in Germany. Germany was like my first or my major concentration site, basically, or my major site, basically. I was building Germany and stuff like that, and doing some stuff in Germany. I remember, and then up into Poland, and like I said, I put my first air thing there, and like I said, I built up huge defenses around Germany. And I believe it was the Filipino people that actually came in, and we were paying, like the Germans were doing it, but it was too big for the Germans to do, with all those whatever. So the Filipinos came in or something like that, and were doing it. I forget. I just heard pictures, and I think it was Filipinos that were actually doing it. And they were building all the concrete defenses around Germany and everything else like that, because I was about to invest a huge amount of money into Germany, and I wanted it to be safe, you know. So I was building like this safety spot, that would also have hardened bunkers and hardened everything, and basically be a safety spot in the world or something like that, like my main base. But kind of went out and out and out and out and out, and eventually I think went into like I also did some stuff in Russia and some other stuff, and like I said, I had some other things, like I had like an underground city or a secret base up in Alaska or something like that, in one of the mountains and stuff like that. I had these different sites all over the world, Like I said, I remember, I think it was Adolf Hitler that was trying to get to one of my underground cities in Alaska, basically, or something like that, somewhere around in there, because I had an underground city up there, and like he was marching his tanks that way. He like crossed over and then marched his way up, and was trying to like get to one of my cities in Alaska, but getting to Alaska, unless you know where the roads are, is basically like a bitch. Like you drive off the road and bloop, into the mud. Like even the roads, everything had to be hardened, especially built and all that other stuff. So we knew that if they were fighting us, they were gonna have to do it on the roads, and a lot of those roads aren't even passable. So and so I had like a mining operation in a city up in Alaska or something. And there's also a fair amount of oil up there in the permafrost or something like that, because there's this thing, and it would basically, the growies would grow, and then it would freeze, and then they would grow and then melt and thaw, and it'd be liquidy, and like it was actually like, what you didn't know is that the ground is actually like really deep, and there's like sections that just wouldn't ever thaw, so it's like 40-foot canyons, and there's growy stuff, and then ice, and then growy stuff, and then ice, and then growy stuff, and then ice, and then and then it would thaw and it would melt, and it'd be like lake and water on top and stuff, or look like mush, but it's just like 40 feet of snow and ice. Like there's nothing there. Like you try and drive a tank out there, and then into the until you hit the ice. So anyway, kind of interesting, actually. Yeah. So that's why in certain places in Alaska, it was deceptive. You felt like you could drive out there, or the water was only just a little bit deep, right? And you're actually standing on like basically dirt or decomposed plant matter and ice. It's just that like 30 feet down, it was actually all ice and stuff like that. And it's actually really interesting. So anyway, I had a bitch of a time getting to there. When I was doing like train system or something like that, or I was getting, up into Alaska, we were encountering that kind of stuff. So like, what is it? Wow. Oh, so it's all ice. Like, yep. There's nothing solid under there. It's like, oh. Okay. So anyway, I don't know. I didn't really care. So anyway. So, like I said, there was one road or 3 or 4 roads in and 3 or 4 roads out, and that was it. If you wanted to be attacking, well, unless you use some sort of like slash kind of like semi-amphibious tank, that could kind of like move along in the ice and stuff, depending on whatever. Anyway, so I don't really care, that might be why some of the tanks were semi-amphibious, because, you could sit, and if you're up to your whatever in water, you would, neutral buoyancy yourself. And we did have tanks like that, tanks that were basically neutral buoyant. In other words, in water they weren't, or they were only like minus like X amount, like minus 2,000 pound heavier than neutral buoyant kind of weight. So in like ice or whatever, or mud, they would just basically kind of like bob along, kind of like that kind of thing. We did a couple of them like that because if you're like too heavy, you just go bloop, 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 or something like that. I don't know. I don't care. It's just past information that I knew about and little things we were doing and stuff like that. Just playing around. I mean, what else are you gonna do for hundreds of years or thousands of years? Go have sex, do drugs, conquer. I don't know. So I didn't really conquer. I just had my life forms and people and stuff like that, and really didn't pay much attention. Like a lot of things probably happened, and I probably just didn't even know about it. It's kind of funny later on when people were like, blah, 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 we're getting away with so much, man. It's like, okay, yeah, you're just really weird. Yeah. Or like when they were trying to capture me and all that other stuff, hold me hostage. It's like, yeah, I'm probably the oldest life form in the universe. Yeah. So, like a lot of people said, Star Line family, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm not really a family. Never had a family. I'm the actual creator. So, I had people. I had people that worked under me. And, I led a lot of life forms. So I designed a lot of other life forms. So, yeah, I never really had a family. So I was just one, intelligent, whatever. And existed. So, like I said, Rodney and Rick Bush and a bunch of other people were gonna have a more clean story, a more whatever believable story than I had. Like that. And I'm just like, yeah, but you're still not Lucifer Star Line. Like Rodney supposedly was going to be my father, which is just like Abraham Lincoln saying that he was my father. I was like, but you're not. And I'm much, much older than you. By thousands or billions of years. I'm just taking a vacation or something like that. Or just... Anyway, so everybody knew what was going to happen on my vacation. And everybody knew that my vacation was going to be the problem, or where something bad was going to happen, or at least when they were probably going to do something. So, and like I said, for hundreds of years, some other piece of shit, which looked better than me, was like, wandering around, pretending to be me, dating women, pretending to be like the creator, whatever. But he wasn't. He was acting like a piece of shit too. So, basically, it's like, and then, okay, it feels so good. And I was just like, and then people were like trying to live in my place, and then they would download their memories into my mind, and and I was like, I don't want your secondhand memories. No, thank you. Like, I didn't live it. I didn't do it. I'm not gonna have your memories, which you basically made all these choices and lived this and did this and whatever. No, that didn't happen. Because they were gonna because they spent my money, lived really hard and fast, and had lots of sex, and then we're going to just download their memories into my mind and basically be like, oh, there's your life. And I was like, yeah, no, thank you. I'll pass. I'd rather not. I wasn't you. I didn't make those choices. I never did those things. And whatever, no thank you. So I said no. And I can do that. Didn't have to accept anything to my mind or anything into me that I didn't want into me. So, and some of those people did some really sick, fucked up things, or did blah, 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 or something like that. Or they were just trying to feel powerful, or I don't know. I don't give a fuck. But I saw it, and I looked it over, and I was like, yeah, but they're not me. And I just, no. They never were me. They were just trying to do stuff in my name or my honor or something. And it's like, yeah, you spending my money and lying and stuff like that, and then being stupid, does not equate to me wanting to have your shit memories into my mind. So no. So I never was them. I never lived those lives. I never did that. And usually I had more important things to do, like actually run the world or worry about real issues that threaten my life forms. So because, like I say, I have a real job, which is basically protecting life, protecting my life forms, thinking of things that might threaten my life forms, and basically keep making sure that that there's life in the universe, and my life in the universe. So anyway, so yeah, so it's not just like a wild cheese dick party. I actually have like a real purpose in existence as Lusifer Star Line. So that's why Rick Bush and Rodney Briley and all these other fuckheads, it's like, you're a fuckhead and you're a piece of shit. I don't give a fuck. A lot of the things that I was doing that I did, basically do ensure you and your race's survival. It's not like with JFK or Nixon, where it's like, our birds cross in the night. I was like, get away from me, you sick psycho. Trillions of years and some sick psycho is dreaming about how he's going to blow up the world. Stupid. And they're mostly used for construction. Do you know how to shatter like a couple hundred trillion whatever units of rock? How do you shatter a mountain of solid rock? That's what I use them for. So you can mine it. Intense shockwave will basically fracture a mountaintop. By going in and out. And then you just basically crush up the rock and smelt it or whatever, and use it. You know of any better way to basically smelt a mountain, or to fracture a mountain? Anyway, and we were using TNT, explosive, all kinds of things, until I came up with the implosion explosion, and using nuclear energy. And then we could finally fracture large amounts of rock, so we could smelt it, remove it. In the old days, if there was a mountain in your way, there was a mountain in your way, and that was it. You went around the mountain. Like I said, I was one of the first life forms or first people where, if there's a mountain in your way, we move it. In the old days, if there's a mountain in your way, well, you're going to go around the mountain. So I changed all that. Anyway, because, in Panama and some other places, I had a mountain in my way. And I decided, I was like, well, let's move the mountain. So we did. That's the difference between Lusifer Star Line and others. We started moving mountains. Started, we could really shape the world. I was a world creator and all that other stuff, but, hey, whatever. That's why I say they just don't understand.